Hidden Scriptures Word Study number 160. The word study today is going to be comments on the Sabbath Torah reading for today. This is part one because I have many comments that I need to get to within the Torah reading for this past Sabbath. So this is just part one. The subtitle is Why Was the Father's Name Hidden? In reading from today's scheduled Torah and Prophets reading list, which today consisted of Deuteronomy 31:30 all the way through 32, verse 52, which basically is the whole chapter of Deuteronomy 32. And then 2 Samuel 22, basically the whole chapter of 2 Samuel 22, and then Hosea chapter 14, verses 1 through, I go 1 through 10. Okay, I hit the outside parameters there. There is one verse that I want to comment on today. The situation that I am pulling this verse from is that Moshe, we know him as Moses, is speaking to all the assembly of Israel, which of course includes the mixed multitude of Gentiles that came out of Egypt with the children of Israel. They are part of the assembly of Israel. Okay, this one verse that I'm going to talk about today is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 3. And this is the New King James Version, of course. And this is Moses, speaking. For I proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our Elohim. Okay, so what name did Moses proclaim? This is how it's been handed down to us, okay? Moshe did not say these words right here. He proclaimed the Father's name. What name did Moshe proclaim? We don't know, because the name was deliberately and intentionally removed and hidden from us. And it was replaced with the Lord, or with God, which was done in blatant opposition to what the Father wanted. Okay, we go to Yeshayahu. We know him as Isaiah, chapter 52 and verse 6, New King James Version. Therefore, this is the Father speaking. Yeshayahu is quoting the Father. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know in that day that I am he who speaks. Behold, it is I. The Father says, therefore my people shall know my name. It is the Father's will that his people know his name. Okay, so that was Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Now we're going to go to Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 21. Therefore, behold, I will once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is, and this is New King James Version. Again, Yirmiyahu did not say these words in the Hebrew, okay? The same back here, okay? Moshe did not say these two words in the Hebrew. He proclaimed the Father's name. Down here in Yirmiyahu, in the Hebrew, Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah did not say these words. This is how it has come down to us in the English, okay? The Father's name was removed. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah proclaimed the Father's name right here, but it has been removed. Okay, and the reason we know that the Father's name is here is when we go to H3068. Okay, we have what the Strong's Concordance considers, in their opinion, to be the Father's name. Okay, it is not these two words right here. I do not, if I can help it, I do not use these two words right here. I proclaim the Father's name, because the Father wants his people to know his name. Now, his full name, H3068 plus H3069, which is a slight variation of H3068, and then in H3050, that is the contracted form, the shortened form of the Father's name, which is what I use primarily, is Yah, because we have solid evidence. I'm fixing to show you. We have solid evidence that the Father's contracted name is Yah. There's no disputing that. Okay, and I will show you that. But when it comes to the Father's full name in either H3068 or 69, well, it's up to speculation because it's been removed. Okay. Here in the above passage of Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, we find an example of the Father's name being deliberately and intentionally removed and hidden from us and replaced, in this case, replaced with the Lord. The Strong's Concordance has assigned the numbers H3068, H3069, and H3050 in referring to the Father's name as the Lord. They've identified 6,569 times that this was done, and to God 302 times. This is what has been identified by the Strong's Concordance, which means that according to the Strong's Concordance, it has identified 6,871 times the Father's name was removed and replaced with Lord or God in the 1769 King James Version of the English Bible. While there is much speculation on how to properly spell and pronounce the Father's name, the one thing that is 100% certain, his name is not Lord or God. Okay, side note, throughout this word study and throughout all my word studies, I will be saying the Father's name as Yahuwah. This merely reflects my own personal opinion based on my own personal research and nothing more. So who was it that is responsible for going against the Father's will, which is that his name was to be known to his people? The elite religious leaders within the Jewish community were the ones responsible for seeing to it that the Father's name was not to be made known to the people. These elite religious leaders within the Jewish community, they took it upon themselves to protect his name by hiding it and not allowing people whom they deemed to be unworthy to say the Father's name. The Father is going to hold them accountable for what they have done because they have violated the Torah by removing and adding to the words that he gave Moses. Okay? They removed his name. They violated the Torah by doing so, and they added in replacement words. Okay, let me show you these passages right now. Okay, we're in the East Sword. Let's go to, I think it's Deuteronomy. Was it Deuteronomy 4:12? 4:2. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this, what Bible am I in here? 2009 edition of the Scriptures. Okay, this is good. So we're right here in this verse, okay? The elite religious leaders in the Jewish community violated the Torah by taking out the Father's name, because right here he says, Do not add to the word which I command you, and do not take away from it. Okay, they have taken away from it by removing the Father's name. They have violated the Torah by doing so, and they violated the Torah by adding in replacement words. So they have violated the Torah right here. And also in Deuteronomy 12:32. I don't know if you guys can see that, but in Deuteronomy 12:32, it says, all the words that I am commanded you, guard to do it. Do not add to it, nor take away from it. Okay. So between Deuteronomy 4, chapter 4 and verse 2, and Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32, they have violated both these passages in the Torah because they knew that the Father commanded that nothing was to be taken out and nothing was to be added. But this is precisely what has happened. Okay, Proverbs chapter 30, verse 6 says, do not add to his words. Okay, this is confirming what is being spoken in Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 2 and Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 32. Okay, so 3 times we have the warning that nothing is to be added to the words that the Father gave Moses, and nothing was to be taken away from the words that he gave Moses. Okay, so that is what Deuteronomy 4:2 says and 12:32, and then Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 6 says. So the Father is going to hold these elite religious leaders within the Jewish community accountable for what they have done because they have violated the Torah. Okay, let's go to the prophets. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 44, New King James Version. Then you shall know that I am, and we have the words the Lord, which was inserted into the text when the Father's name, which I pronounce as Yahuwah, was removed. So let me read this with the Father's name, as I understand it to be. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have dealt with you for my name's sake. Okay? That right there, that is telling us that he is going to hold these elite religious leaders within the Jewish community who removed his name. He's going to hold them accountable. He says it right here, when I have dealt with you for my name's sake, according to your wicked ways. By them removing the Father's name, the Father says that that is your wicked ways and your corrupt doings. So this was their corrupt doings and it was their wicked ways to transgress the Torah by removing the Father's name, Yahuwah, and replacing it as it has been handed down to us in the English language with the Lord. O house of Israel, says, and then we have H136. What is that? Adonai. Okay, that. I don't have a problem with that. And then we have H3069. This is just a slight variation of the Father's name. So this is how this verse should be read in our English Bibles. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah, when I have dealt with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O house of Israel, says Adonai Yahuwah. Okay, that's how I read that verse. But you just insert what you believe the Father's name to be based on your own research right there. So in this verse, we have the Father's name here. Whatever name that you want to put in there, you put in there. Just take out this phrase right here. Put in the Father's name. Right here is Adonai. H136, Adonai. And then this is the Father's name again. It's just a very, very slight variation. Okay. Ezekiel 36:22. Again, New King James Version. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus says Adonai, Yahuwah. I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. That's referring to the diaspora when the Father dispersed the 10 tribes of Israel all throughout the earth, okay, because of their disobedience. Okay, so this is speaking about the diaspora. Therefore, say to the house of Israel, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, I do not do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations wherever you went. They profaned. The Father says that they have profaned his name. How did they do that? They did it by taking his name out of the Hebrew text and replacing it. Ezekiel 36:23. And I will sanctify my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, which you, house of Israel, have profaned in their midst. And the nations, the Gentiles, shall know that I am Yahuwah, says Adonai Yahuwah, when I am hallowed in you before their eyes. Okay, again, 3068 is the Father's name. H136 is the name or the word Adonai, and H3069 is merely a slight variation of the Father's name up here in H3068. Okay, Ezekiel 39:7, New King James Version. So I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them profane my holy name anymore. Then the Gentile nations shall know that I am Yahuwah, the Holy One of Israel, because of the elite religious leaders of the Jewish community going against the Father's will to have his name known to the people. We don't really know with 100% certainty what his full form name is. There are a lot of opinions out there from people with PhDs attached to their names. And of course, I have my own opinion where we do have solid evidence of the shortened form of the Father's name. We find this evidence only one single time in the 1769 King James Bible. It seems that this single time was overlooked because 48 other times the shortened form of his name was removed and replaced with, you guessed it, Lord. Okay, this one single time that we find the Father's shortened, condensed, contracted name is in Psalm 68:4, 1769 King James Version. Sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name Jah, H3050, and rejoice before him. Okay, by his name Jah. As far as I am aware, as a non-Hebrew speaking Gentile, there has never been a J sound in the Hebrew language. In fact, this J sound didn't even come into the English language until the early 1500s, which means that we pronounce the shortened or contracted form of the Father's name as Yah, not Jah. We pronounce it as Yah. Now, even though the 1769 King James Version let it slip by them the one single time, here in Psalm 68:4, other modern Bible versions are attempting to make the appropriate correction. The New King James Version made a feeble attempt at it by adding only 3 additional verses from the 48 verses that were available. The one verse that the 1769 King James Version has, the New King James has it, plus the 3 additional verses. Sing to Elohim. The reason I say Elohim is because it is H430, which is Elohim. Let me show you that. Psalm 68:4. Okay, we are in the Word. This is another free Bible program that I also use, but I have not used it very much in my word studies, but just for grins, I'm going to use it right now. So we are going to go to Psalms 68:4. So we're in Psalms. Let's go down here to chapter 68 and then go to verse 4. Okay, this is the King James Version with the Strong's number. Sing unto Elohim. Now, why do I say Elohim? Watch what happens when I put my pointer up there. Do you see that? H430, Elohim. Right here, Elohim, Elohim. So that's why when I read, or when the text has the word God, I will say Elohim when it is H430. Okay, so I just want to show you guys why I do the things I do. I don't pull these things out of thin air. Okay, I have a reason why I say the things that I say. Okay, so there it is right there. Sing to Elohim. Sing praises to his name. Extol him who rides on the clouds by his name Yah. New King James Version. By his name Yah. H3050. And rejoice before him. Okay, now have I shown you guys this? No, I failed to do that. So let's go back to the word, and this is okay. So this is the King James Version with the Strong's numbers. Now I just showed you that the New King James Version does not have Jah because there is no J in the Hebrew language. So watch what happens when I put my mouse pointer on the word Jah. It's H3050 and it is Yah right here. Yah, the sacred name, which is short for, in their opinion, this is their opinion, that the Father's name is Yahweh. Many people hold that same opinion. Okay, but the point is that the New King James Version has Yah, and it is the shortened form. Okay, now down here, I don't know if you guys can read this, but it says contraction. Yah is the contraction for H3068, which I do pronounce as Yahuwah. Okay, and then here H3069 is the slight variation of the spelling, but it is pronounced Yahuwah in my humble opinion. Okay, so this is the New King James Version, the one of 4 verses. They have his name Yah. Okay, Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 12 and verse 2, New King James Version. Behold, El. I'm not going to keep going back and forth because I'll take up too much of your time. But this is H410, which is El. Up here it is Elohim. In this passage, it is the shortened form, the contracted form. El is my salvation. Behold, El is my salvation, my deliverance. I will trust and not be afraid. For Yah, H3050, for Yah. And then they have the Lord, which again, they made a feeble attempt, okay? But this passage should read, Behold, El is my deliverance, my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. For Yahuwah is my strength and song. He also has become my deliverance, my salvation. Okay, H3068 is the Father's name. So that's why I read it the way it should be read. Okay, let's move on. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 26:4. Trust in Yahuwah forever, for in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. That's how that verse should be read. Trust in Yahuwah forever. For in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. H3068 is the long form of the Father's name, and H3050 is the contracted shortened form of the Father's name, which is Yah. Yeshayahu 38:11, New King James Version. I'm going to read it as it should be read. I said, I shall not see Yah in the land of the living. I shall observe man no more among the inhabitants of the world. Okay, the reason I read it that way is because that is the way it should be read. Two times we have H3050. I shall not see Yah in the land of the living. I shall observe man no more among the inhabitants of the world. Okay, so what are we to do with all this information? For those of you who have a desire in your heart to search for the truth and settle for nothing but the truth, the way to weed through all this mess that has been handed down to us concerning the concealment of the Father's name is to get yourself a copy of a Bible that has proven to me to be the most truthful and accurate English language Bible when it comes to the Father's name. You can write down the link below and type it into your favorite web browser. Okay, this is a good link. I have tested it. Okay, so you take this link and type it into your favorite web browser, and it will take you to their website where you can order your own hard copy Bible. Let's look at some of the same verses again, but this time in the Bible that I just recommended. Psalm 68:4 in the 2009 edition of the Scriptures. Sing to Elohim. Sing praises to his name. Raise up a highway for him who rides through the deserts by his name Yah, and exult before him. Okay, Psalms 118, verse 14. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. Yeshayahu 12:2. Isaiah. See, El is my deliverance. I trust and am not afraid. For Yahuwah, is my strength and my song, and he has become my deliverance. Okay, now, do you see this right here? This is the Tetragrammaton. This is the Father's name with only the consonants. There is no vowel in the Tetragrammaton. Okay, so this is the Father's name right here. So the way I read this verse is, see, El is my deliverance. I trust and am not afraid. For Yahuwah is my strength and my song, and he has become my deliverance. Okay, Exodus chapter 15, verse 2. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him. Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Okay, now watch how they handle this next verse. Okay, this next verse is how they handled Yeshayahu 12:2, the same way. Yahuwah, they start off with the tetragrammaton right here. Yahuwah is a man of battle. Yahuwah is his name. Okay, now why did they do this? Because, like I've already mentioned, while we have solid evidence that the contracted and shortened form of the Father's name is Yah, the long form of his name is up for speculation. There are just too many differing opinions out there concerning the Father's full form name for the publishers of the 2009 edition of the Scriptures to take a stand with anyone's particular opinion. Okay, so they leave it up to you to spell it and pronounce it the way that your research is leading you to do. Trust in Yahuwah is my own pronunciation. Forever. Trust in Yahuwah forever. For in Yah, Yahuwah is a rock of ages. Okay, folks, I am going to leave it there for today. I hope that this word study today, I hope that you were able to glean something from it. Where there is no fear, there is no obedience. Where there is no obedience, there is no covenant. Where there is no covenant, there is no hope. Folks, the Father wants you to know his name. So just do the best you can with your own personal research to come up with what you believe the Father's name to be. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I look forward to being with you again in the next word study. Shalom.